working to be successful, people seem to think that you have it all, when that's not always the case. It can be quite lonely at the top.
Yeah, it is. It's good morning, Jehoshaphat.
Oh, you people, you think this name will stick? It won't work.
Oh, but
Unless you make it funky small, like Shafat.
No, we are good on Jehu.
Jehu,
DJ
Jehu.
Jehu.
Yeah.
People have no imagination. Anyway,
There was
that's
also
our
Fatou,
inspirational song.
too, along the line.
Fatou.
Fatou.
But apparently you have actually handed that to somebody else. So we are just wondering.
Or you want Shafat?
Yeah.
That's what I said. You people say
No, Jehu is better.
Yeah, but you don't choose how we call it.
I don't even care what you call me.
Especially
All right,
for
the inspirational
original
song is brought to you by Republic Bank. We are the one for you. And Duraplast. Where Duraplast goes, water flows.
Let's learn how to say it right now. Brought to us by Korba Payment App, Korba Our Lives Simplified, and Kingdom Books at Kingdom. Quality and affordability is our hallmark.
Something must be done.
You say either.
Let's do some pronunciation today, shall we? I've got a word for you. S-E-G-M-E-N-T. Segment. That's segment, not segment. Segment is the individual parts or pieces into which something may be divided. It can also be a verb, meaning the act of dividing something into individual parts. But as a verb, it is pronounced segment. Synonyms include division, piece, portion, sector, slice, bit, cut, wedge, or moiety. Yes, moiety. Let me flex my thesaurus muscles a little bit. Anyway, it's time for the news review segment. Later, we'll bring you the sports wedge. Earlier, we had the message from the morning man moiety. Okay, I'll stop now. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, the way forward is what?
Oh, we're having some discussions about benchmark for petroleum price and where it's reached on the world stage. You want to look at the windfall and whether government revenue is increasing as a result, and what that would mean for the Ghanaian economy.
Yeah, and whether or not we could use the windfall
to cushion Ghanaians.
And remove some of the taxes on the petroleum products. You know, somebody's trouble may also have a silver lining for you.
So you're thinking that we may have a reason to thank Vladimir Putin for
just a slight part. And you see, I'm also told that gold prices are also soaring. So,
commodity prices when they soar like that is good for Ghana.
It's also we are dependent on commodities.
It's the basis of our growth.
Yes, our entire plan for survival is based on commodity prices.
So
yeah. All right. Okay. Speaking of which, I mean, the events, in Ukraine, they're creating history as we speak. We just hope that it doesn't turn into another negative chapter in world history. But there have been several reactions from leaders around the world.
That for too long has given Putin his grip on Western politics. Our mission is clear. Diplomatically, politically, economically, and eventually militarily, this hideous and barbaric venture of Vladimir Putin must end in failure. And so I say to the people of Russia, whose president has just authorized a tidal wave of violence against a fellow Slavic people, as the parents of Russian soldiers who will lose their lives, I cannot believe this is being done in your name, or that you really want the pariah status it will bring to the Putin regime. And I say to the Ukrainians in this moment of agony, we are with you. We're praying for you and your families, and we are on your side.
Putin is the aggressor. Putin chose this war, and now he and his country will bear the consequences. Putin's aggression against Ukraine will end up costing Russia dearly, economically and strategically. We will make sure of that. Putin's actions betray his sinister vision for the future of our world, one where nations take what they want by force. But it is a vision that the United States and freedom-loving nations everywhere will oppose with every tool of our considerable power. He has much larger ambitions in Ukraine. He wants to, in fact, reestablish the former Soviet Union. That's what this is about. In the contest between democracy and autocracy, between sovereignty and subjugation, make no mistake, freedom will prevail.
Peace on our continent has been shattered. We now have war in Europe on a scale and of a type we thought belonged to history. This is a grave moment for the security of Europe. Russia's unjustified and unprovoked attack on Ukraine is putting countless innocent lives at risk. With air and missile attacks, ground forces and special forces from multiple directions, targeting military infrastructure and major urban centers. This is a deliberate, cold-blooded, and long-planned invasion. Despite its litany of lies, denials, and disinformation, the Kremlin's intentions are clear for the world to see. Russia's leaders bear full responsibility for their reckless actions and the lives lost. Russia is using force to try to rewrite history and deny Ukraine its free and independent path.
Early this morning, Russian troops invaded Ukraine, a free and sovereign country. And once again, in the center of Europe, innocent women, men and children are dying of fear for their lives. We condemn this barbaric attack and the cynical arguments to justify it. It is President Putin who is bringing war back to Europe. And in these dark hours, the European Union and its people stand by Ukraine and its people. We are facing an unprecedented act of aggression by the Russian leadership against a sovereign, independent country. Russia's target is not only Donbas. The target is not only Ukraine. The target is the stability in Europe and the whole of the international peace order. And we will hold President Putin accountable for that. Later today, we will present a package of massive and targeted sanctions to European leaders for approval. With this package, we will target strategic sectors of the Russian economy by blocking their access to technologies and markets that are key for Russia.
It's too late, my dear colleagues, to speak about de-escalation. Too late. The Russian president declared a war on the record. Should I play the video of your president? Ambassador, shall I do that right now, or you can confirm it? Do not interrupt me, please. Thank you.
Then don't ask me questions when you are speaking. Proceed with your statement.
Anyway, you declared the war. It is the responsibility of this body to stop the war. So I call on every one of you to do everything possible to stop the war.
That's how it's unfolding across the globe. And today we will spend a little time talking about this because these things have implications on Ghana, particularly since we have a few thousand Ghanaians in the Ukraine as we speak.
And we're just talking about oil and other prices. And
Absolutely.
There's also one very interesting part people forget, that when countries are preparing for war, they sometimes divert available funds from aid and other areas straight into disarmament and all the other things that are happening across the world. And we, who are sometimes dependent a little bit on aid too, can get these effects anyway.
Ghana beyond aid.
Ghana beyond aid. Let's get into the paper, starting with the Chronicle. Matthew chapter 5, verse 9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God.
Amen.
Akufo-Addo dreads Russia-Ukraine war on fuel prices, safety of Ghanaians. And we'll get into this story. It's all over in the papers. Most young ladies can't even prepare soup. Bono minister blames it on social media. Hey.
But what's the problem? Why must a young lady's ability to prepare soup be an issue of concern?
I'll tell you more about that shortly.
What research connects this minister's claim and social media?
You are even proceeding on the premise that it is important.
Let's continue.
How many young women are able to prepare soup?
Let's continue, honorable members. Absentee MPs to know their fate. Today's speaker declares Ghanaian students in Ukraine call on government for evacuation. Michael Sichi, others remanded for trafficking firearms. And The back page talking about lots of sports stories. Man United welcome Watford at Old Trafford tomorrow.
Now, the Ghanaian Times is reporting this morning, President laments Russia-Ukraine conflict, expresses concern about safety, evacuations, and oil prices. Soldiers set ablaze excavators and a house too. That's what's being reported here. In an attempt to fight Galamsey, and apparently the signature, or let's say greatest sign of fighting Galamsey, which is burning excavators, is back in front row. So apparently we are fighting Galamsey now. Anyway, and Yoko warns public about 2 Ponzi schemes operating online. And before we move on, let me just mention those Ponzi schemes so that people who are getting on to should know now. The companies, one is Royal Gardens Network and Haptel Mobile Money Lending, have been found to be operating Ponzi schemes. Take note. We won't come back to any savior policy for you.
The names again?
One, Royal Gardens Network and Haptel Mobile Money Lending.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've seen a disclaimer somewhere from Haptel, the tech company.
Yeah.
Meaning they have nothing to do with this
the
Haptel
mobile money lending. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, let's get to the Daily Graphic today. Russia-Ukraine conflict, safety, evacuation of Ghanaians key, President Akufo-Addo. And so the president has expressed concern about the impact of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia on the safety and evacuation of Ghanaians, and also on oil prices. In that regard, he's urged students and other Ghanaians in Ukraine to seek help at government places of shelter. Now, La Mancha funeral slated for March 7 to 20. Electoral commissioners' appointment must be competitive. That's according to Professor Jimendia. And this one that will be of interest to all of us. Government pays 16.45 billion cedis to power producers, Deputy Minister of Energy. And so we're told that the government paid 16.45 billion to independent power producers and fuel suppliers from 2016 to June 2021. And while the IPPs received 12.07 billion fuel, suppliers were paid 4.36 billion, and the payment was done on behalf of the Electricity Company of Ghana, the off-taker of power from IPPs. And that's what Deputy Minister of Energy, William Oreku Edu, has disclosed on the floor of Parliament. We'll get back to this particular issue.
Now, the BNFT is reporting this morning, new pensions investments directive requires low interest rate to work. And this is coming from Dr. Priscilla Chumesi Bafo. She's a senior lecturer in the economics department at the University of Ghana, and her picture is heavily embossed. I can say good morning to her. You know, she's one of our favorite people in economics, you know. Yeah. Economics is wonderful with her. Anyway, now Ghana losing out.
Why is Samuel Adame excited?
Samuel, what's the problem?
I was about to say, an economist once said, new pension investment directive requires low interest. Anyway, well, there's one more. Ghana losing out on 130 billion chocolate markets, and oil prices surpass $100 mark as Russia invades Ukraine. And those stories are still on the front page of the BNFT.
Well, the finder this morning, Jinapa not satisfied with 4 million Chamber of Mines donation to a Piazza Fund. Well, that story that came out yesterday.
So how much was he expecting them to give?
Well, the story that I have read doesn't really give an amount.
The people that you say have actually done breach is
done something wrong. Right?
Yes.
It's only what?
1 million.
No,
1 million.
1 million that you find them.
People are coming to give donation
for free. It says looking at their portfolio and everything they do, they should be able to give more.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, we've asked the question:
why should they even have
shouldn't you be resorting to the courts, suing the companies
have
involved?
To give one person?
Yeah, but you see, that's the question. Shouldn't you be resorting to the courts, suing the companies involved in rebuilding a Piazza, for instance? While it's not bad to establish a fund, why all of a sudden, tasking people to pay more?
Yeah.
Oil soars to $105 after Russia attacks Ukraine. Ghanaians to pay more for fuel. That's how the finder talks about it. But we started this conversation by talking about the windfalls that we're going to make as a country and whether we could use that to cushion. And so, under the circumstance, you're looking at your price stabilization and recovery levy and saying we don't need this anymore under the circumstances. But Russia-Ukraine conflict, Akufo-Addo concerned about safety and evacuations and oil prices also here. And BDAC Foundation family donate $400,000 dialysis machines to the Eastern Region Hospital.
Apart from government committed to divesting of lands, all the stories you mentioned on that front page are also on the front page of the Ghanaian Observer.
And it looks like the Daily Statesman, world leaders, jittery, same thing here, but a housing deficit down by 33%. And we're told that the Minister of Works and Housing, Francis Nsubuachi, has described the new data on housing that puts the national housing deficit at 1.8 million, which is a 33% reduction from the previous 2.8 million.
Why 33% of the homeless people have moved out of Ghana?
Well, I mean, you're looking at your population and you're looking at the houses that you have. And so if you've been able to increase the building of houses over the period, you look at it cumulatively and say the number of houses have increased. And so the deficit that you had previously has reduced.
Except that some of the houses, some of us, we can never afford them. So even though there may be houses there, we are still looking for some elsewhere because the cash l'argent is not, you know.
So has the housing deficit been reduced? I mean, if you've built edifices that nobody is living in, have you reduced the housing deficit? You might as well. You might as well have built bridges or tunnels, since it's not housing anyone.
Anyway, but mostly the government is not the one building them. But the Daily Guide is reporting this morning that Adwoa Safo's fate in limbo, bloody war breaks out. Putin attacks Ukraine by land, air, sea, cyber. Over 1,000 Ghanaians stranded, oil price skyrockets, and Atu Essien punched over 620 million BOG cash. You know, that's where the very funny expression bailout came out.
Yeah, bailout.
First time. Yeah. And Metro Mass coordinator jailed for blackmail. That's on the front page of the Daily Guide too.
Okay. Shall we do the online review? It's brought to us by Zenith Bank in your best interest, Goyle Good Energy, and Enterprise Life. No matter how much you make for a living, Enterprise Life has life solutions carefully crafted for you. Enterprise Life, your advantage.
And Goyle has good news for you because Goyle is rewarding its prepaying Go Card customers with 2% discount per liter on fuel. You also enjoy a discount on lubricants at Goyle stations nationwide. So elevate your goodness by joining Goyle Go Club today and enjoy up to 3% per liter discount on fuel, amazing discount on lubricant purchases, free life insurance cover provided by My Life Insurance. Join the Go Club by visiting Goyle stations or offices, Goyle website, registration.goyle.com.gh, and all Goyle social media platforms. Goyle Good Energy, Goyle, Yaya Team.
All right then. Evacuation of Ghanaians from Ukraine, the more reason why we need e-levy. Afenyo Markin. Hey, this e-levy.
The panacea.
Once we start paying e-levy, Shatawale will win a Grammy. The Black Stars will win the World Cup.
Oh yeah, adding up to it.
Terry Bunchaka will return from the dead. Paul Adomochi will become board chair of Amazon. All right, it's difficult to evacuate Ghanaians in the Ukraine. Now we're working towards their safety. This is from the foreign minister, and it's on citynewsroom.com. Okay, let's go to the BBC, where obviously Ukraine is dominating. Russian strikes hit Kiev overnight, says Ukraine. All right, we're keeping an eye on that. We'll talk more about it shortly. Right now, there's time for the BBC News, brought to us by Fidelity Bank, believe it. That's British Airways and Millennium Insurance, your trustworthy partner.
It's Ghana's first ever full-length animation movie, and you've got to see it. 28th, The Crossroads by Parables Animation Studios in collaboration with Animation Africa. It's a recreation of a key event that led to Ghana's independence. It's a story of love, determination, tragedy, and hope in a format fit for the entire family. 28th, The Crossroads premieres on Monday, 28th February at 7 p.m. at the Silverbird Cinemas, Accra Mall, and West Hills Mall. Get your ticket today at only 50 Ghana cedis from Silverbird Cinemas, Airport Shell, Maxmart, and Bachelor Total. Or dial a short code *899*60# or visit www.studioparables.com. 28th, The Crossroads. It's not just a story, it's our history in a riveting animated film. Don't miss it.
I nearly gave up on driving out